because I remember being a kid and I never forgot this for some reason. But I was a kid in class with this girl, and I asked her if she believed in God, and she said, "I believe in science." And for some reason, even as a kid, I was like, "She crazy as hell." Like I just still thought that. Like even as a kid, this happened.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because isn't there a whole like cult about that, where they have that whole cult where it's like
Scientology?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I go down rabbit holes if you can't tell.
Yeah.
All that.
Everything, because everything is interconnected. It really everything is really, we could be here all day talking about all kind of stuff. And yes, two are the same. Absolutely. The Lord and science are absolutely two and the same. They want to separate the two just to try to disqualify that God is real. But the more I learn in science and psychology, the more I learn, the more, to me, it proves God's existence. The more I see, the more you learn in biology, the more you learn about cells and chromosomes and proteins, the more you learn about that stuff in a small macro thing, you know what I mean? The more you see that all those tiny little cells just represent a larger picture, and everything is a representation of God. Like we were talking about, when you look at animals, you look at the insects, you look at you can look at any, if you get to see the inside of how your body works. You know what I saw? Mm-hmm. What I learned. So if you know your heart is in 4 quadrants. There's 4 quadrants in your heart. And so all of that tells me is that you have a cross on your heart.
Ain't that something?
You have a cross in your heart. There's 4 quadrants in your heart. And all of those things, and 4 represents the north, the south, the east, and the west, right? And like Grandma Tweety talks about the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit with yourself is a quad. The 4, where the 3 live within you, making you a quad. All of those things, like he said, you see God in math. I can be here all day, but don't get me started. You talking about a rabbit hole.
Or hair. Like, have you seen like when they compare afros to like the trees and stuff?
Yes. The tree. Don't get into love. Yes, honey. That's to love. That is the love thing. Absolutely. And we can be here all day. If you get a chance, anybody watching, look up the meaning of numbers. If you ever have time, look up the meaning of numbers, what numbers mean. Every number has a meaning and has a purpose. Look that up. It's fascinating. And the number 9 is probably the most interesting. All that stuff is fascinating. Yes.
I used to like go to this church over here in the hood, Compton, right? Mm-hmm. And the pastor that was preaching at the time, he was like, I had this moment, he's looking at the corner of the wall, and everybody's like, why the fuck is this dude looking at the corner of the wall? And he was like, he looked up and he was like, he turned around to the congregation, he was like, I seen God. And I was like, I wonder what he looked like, right? Because I mean, from what I've known, that God is a spirit, like you see him in light. Many other things. In light, right? Light. Perfectly said, right? And what I seem to see is that people have their own perspective of things, and how you present that perspective, another person may be able to see it. Other people may be like, yeah, this dude is wiped out of his brain. You know what I mean? Or it really may be where he can really, it really made me where he could really prove that there's God in this message. But I think you can see God in anything. That just shows you how abundant he is, or she is, or the infinite being. Because people like to say God is a woman, is a man, whatever the case may be. It just shows you how infinite they are. Right?
Yeah, God said he's both, but he calls himself the Father. But in reality, he made man and woman in our image. He said so. He's both man and woman, but we call him the Father, and we worship Jesus as a man. He came as a man for a reason, to show the head, who he made the head of the family. The man is made the head for a reason, and yeah, I have a whole lot to say about that, but I have nothing against worshiping a man worshiping the Father. And I didn't grow up with a daddy. I knew my father, but I didn't grow up with him throughout my life. But knowing that I have a Father in heaven that has been my father, doing everything for me, is all I need to know. I don't need him to be a woman for me to worship him. I'm powerful enough as a woman. I don't need to feel like God is a woman to feel powerful. God made me powerful.
That's deep.
So
that's deep. That's deep.
Yeah,
Because a lot of women will say, "No, girl, you speaking against what we do, girl. You gotta, girl. God is a woman, right?" And I get it. I get it. Okay, you know, what I mean, it's cool, right? Like, you know, you gotta let people feel how they want to feel, because if you never let people feel what they want to feel or how they feel, then they feel compressed and depressed, and they start walking around depression because I can't feel what I want to feel. I trans and all the other shit, right? And so I think there are some points in life where we do have to let people just live their lives, and we have to see the God in that, right? You have to see the beauty of choice, and God gave us what? Choice, right? The angels, what is this a thing? And the angels in heaven are a little J of the humans because we have the freedom of choice, right? Right. So it's like, and you know, see God beyond. Yeah, it's good to see God beyond, man. And that's I think that's the big thing we have if we don't understand. Right, girl. That's the biggest thing. You know, I really see God in a lot, but you know, me as an entertainer, right? I do a lot of touring and stuff, and I see God in many different things that I do. I see God in the music. I see God in the people. I see God in the infrastructures that I'm able to set up. I see God in the business deals that I'm able to set up. I'm not a crazy quadrillionaire or whatever, but the whole point is that, you know, you're able to see these things manifest, and you know, you have the power to manifest these things. I mean, did Jesus say, "Ye are gods on earth; ye have more power in thee," because you are able to manifest and you know the truth. And I think that that's something that most people don't take confidence and consideration in, right? Seeing God in themselves, right? And it was crazy. I heard Steve Harvey. I'm not a big Steve Harvey fan, but he said something on the show one day. He was like, you know, God, we talk about God. He was like, you know, that little thing that keeps you moving every day? That's God. You know, that thing that keeps you inspired, that keeps you going to your next goal? That's God. You know what I mean? Like, God is within, you know, and I'm not saying that that's all it is, but it's not saying that that's all God is, but it's just saying, like, God is infinite. You have God in you.
Yeah, because some folks' motivation got them doing demonic stuff. Yeah.